What I was going to say, you were asking about that cigar. I really like that cigar.
That was
general.
the Finch from Blackbird Cigars.
That was the. That was the.
I love that.
That was the Hawk. Was that one?
That was the Hawk.
You
know what they call the Hawk? When you live near the Great Lakes, you know what the Hawk is?
It's the one with Cigar Culture. Cigar Culture Blackbird collaboration.
Nice. I
Hawk.
saw the guy who runs Cigar Culture in PCA, and he and I were like kind of working together at one point. And I saw him, and he just like gave me this like quick head nod, and I was like,
"You're like,
excuse me, where's my hug, you bitch?" You know, like like he's had his family.
That would be like if you passed if you passed me at a cigar show or something. I was just like,
okay,
you'd
so
be like,
we weren't that close or anything, but he's been to my house, and his wife and kid have been to my house one time.
Oh, okay.
You know,
so
like,
I mean, probably not as close as us, but
family
more
friend,
than a fucking.
Yeah, an acquaintance. And I was like, bro, I was like, bro, come on, man, come bring it in. And he gave me a hug, and it was like really awkward. And you know,
really,
I do remember that we were in front of a couple of booths that, you know, my man has to go around selling other people's products, right? So he's a broker. So, you know, there was a lot at PCA, Jeremy. There was a lot of love, and I mean a lot of love. It was like 90% love, but the 10% hate was thick in the air, and you could feel it everywhere you went, everywhere you walked. You look up, and there's some crew of people that are uncomfortable that you're around. Because here's the truth. The truth of the matter is this, because at night, once everyone would get a drink in them, this is what would be whispered in my ear every time. And I'm talking about, like, I would walk up to a well-established company and be like, hey, guys, I'm Brian from Pravada. They know who the fuck I am. Hey, guys, I'm Brian from Pravada Cigar Club. You know, I just wanted to let you know how much I respect the brand and the legacy and all that. And they'd be like, oh, hi, hey, nice to meet you. Okay. Then, like, that night or the next night, I'd see them at a bar or something, and one of them would walk, bro, we love what you're doing. Look, there's a lot of people here that are totally against you. First thing I heard when I walked into PCA was that two of the biggest exhibitors there petitioned to have us thrown out of PCA. And I was like, it hurt, man. It hurt because one of them what's that?
I'm sorry to interrupt you. Let me. Are we recording this for the podcast?
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Ask whatever. Who cares?
Let me ask you this real quick. And I don't mean to interrupt your story, but this is pertinent to what you're talking about right now.
Okay.
So I thought
let's hear it.
I hate to, but I'm gonna look at the camera for this. Why is everybody in the cigar industry such a bitch?
Oof, we talked about that a lot on this trip.
Yeah,
we talked about it a lot.
Why are y'all all a bunch of whiny ass bitches that like to play little girl games and get mad at each other like you're in fucking high school? How about we all like this. Grow up?
It's not like this in other industries.
No, it's not. That's what I'm saying. I hear all these stories about the cigar industry, and I'm like, why is everybody
it's bizarre
so fucking shitty in that industry? Like, just be
so do you want can I give you my answer on that? And this is something that I came up with at PCA, and this is what I believe it is. When you get to a certain level of success in cigars, it means that you were really passionate about it. Whether you were passionate about the business, the people, the cigars themselves, the tobacco, but there's a driving force there. Because really, there's a lot of other industries that if you put this much time, energy, and, you know, mental creativity into, you can make a lot more money. But there are some people that just fall in love with the cigar industry and tobacco, and I'm one of those people. And so what happens is this is what I think is the real answer to that is tobacco's like a woman. The cigar industry it's like a woman. And we know that bitch dates other people. Okay? We're not happy about it though.
And we're in love with the hoe.
Right. That's exactly what it is. And so when you see other people with your chick, with your with your who you want to be your bottom bitch. Okay. You get upset, and so it causes people to act out. Now there's one guy in particular who I've had beef with from the beginning. And about a year ago, I was in Philadelphia. I met a guy who has a long story and rich history in tobacco from a tobacconist's point of view, but he's worked for magazines. He's done a million things. And I said, listen, I want to bring you down to Florida. I want to film you. I want you to talk about the stories. I want you to teach the next generation the stuff that you needed to know or learned along the way. And I'll even compensate you for it. And he was like, you know what? I'm in. And so a week later, he wrote me and said that one of the people that he mentored in this industry, who is this person that I've had drama with from the door, like for no reason either, told him that he cannot work with me. And so I said, wow, that's a real shame. I mean, is this person going to film a short documentary on you or a master class or, like why?
See, that's the kind of behavior that I'm talking about, right? Yeah. That's the kind of behavior that I'm talking about. I'm talking about you can't work with this person or I'm going to get offended or you can't because we're tight. You can't do this with this. It's like, because I had that experience myself with a couple of companies that I've worked with where they want exclusivity or they want this or they want that. Like and it reminds me, and you, by the way, you've never been like that. You've always told me like, hey man, we have our thing, work with whoever you want to.
Free country.
Like, you know what I mean? Which is the way it should be because it keeps everything fair across the board, right? Sure. It makes sure that everybody's playing fair. It makes sure that nobody's showing preferential treatment based on relationships. It's just, where's the best business? Where's the best deal? Who's offering me the best dollar?
Man. They don't want that shit. Don't be talking that shit over here, Jeremy. They don't want that amicable kind of stuff. They want to crush.
Yeah, but I mean, that's how, and that's what I told the couple companies that said that. I'm like, look, how am I going to get online? From my perspective as a reviewer, right? How am I going to get online and pretend like I'm giving this cigar a fair shake if you're the only one I deal with, right? Like, how can I get online and say, oh, I'm giving my honest opinion about this blah, 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 blah. And that's the only cigar company I ever smoke. And that's
let me cut you off for a second and ask you this. Yeah. If now imagine that the cigar industry was the only industry that you had to try to get sponsors from. First of all, imagine how hard that would be. Second of all, imagine if it was going to pay your bills and you were going to make you money as a full-time job, you would be corrupted within weeks because you'd have to sign one of those deals and you'd have to take money from one of the top guys, and then it leaves you biased. It's just that's been cigar media.
It's just crazy, man, because it's like I work in a lot of industries, and don't get me wrong, almost every company I work with, they do make you sign non-compete clauses, right? But it's for a limited window because they don't want you doing something for them and then the next day doing something for somebody else, right? So a lot of them will make you sign like a 30-day non-compete where it's like, yeah, within 30 days, you can't review another product that's in the same category as ours. And it's like, okay, whatever. I'll just schedule some other shit and then 30 days from now, do the other.
Right.
I don't like signing those. I try to avoid them, but if it's a sticking point, I'll sign them because 30 days isn't the end of the world. It's just a month, right? But to expect me to sign like a long-term exclusivity thing is just, it's crazy. And I've had cigar companies get weird about that and try to be like, well, then we can't work together. And I'm like, okay, well then we don't work together. Like, I don't know what to tell you. It's just, I mean, it's
like,
I don't
and by the way,
mentality there. And I guess it's like you said is, they want you to be their bitch and they don't want to see somebody else fucking you.
Right, exactly. And by the way, they found you because of someone else, whether it was me or someone else. They found you because of them. And now they're like, oh no, that person can't use you anymore. But that's how you found it, dickhead. Stop fucking around, man. If your product speaks for itself, then you don't need all that shit.
That's my point, right?
How much work do you want to put in? You can try to handcuff people, or you could put in the work to make sure that they never want to go anywhere else. And that's what I've always focused on.
That is what everyone should be focused on because that is the rational adult thing to do. Not this, why. And it's not just about the non-compete stuff and all that. It's about all the other stuff in that industry that goes on that I've seen and heard. And, you know, I've had companies get mad because like, you know, they thought I seemed closer to somebody else, or, you know, I don't return their calls as fast as they would like. And they just feel like I'm not giving them the attention they deserve. I actually had a company tell me that they were just, their feelings were hurt because they didn't feel like they were getting the attention they deserved. And I'm like, are you my fucking girlfriend? Like, what are we? And it was in the cigar industry. This wasn't in guns or knives or wallets or leather goods or cologne or fucking tech or any of the other random shit, whiskey. This wasn't, it was in the cigar industry. I've only experienced this in the cigar industry. And I don't understand it.
I've had to make a few calls for bourbon stuff. And every time I get off the phone, I tell Clark, I'm like, it can't be this good. Let's just somebody.
Whiskey people are way cooler.
Yo, the other foot's gonna drop soon. They're gonna be dicks too. Trust me, this is gonna be an uphill battle.
They're not though. Dude.
Nothing's easy in life, Clark. Don't think that this is how it is. We're off to a great start, thankfully. But no, these people. You know what they're talking to me about selling the company. I haven't even started the company yet. If you want to get bought out by this guy, all you got to do is do this. And I would go in this route. And it's like, you're giving me free advice? Holy shit. No one's ever given me free advice.
They get a little cagier sometimes when you get into like some of the and rightly so. There are like trade secrets and proprietary stuff they figured out for their brand. And they do get a little cagey sometimes with some of that stuff. But I mean, there's a certain amount of stuff you expect people not to just give away the shit, right? But there's also a certain amount of professional courtesy where it's just like, yeah, man, we're all trying to look at that cup. That's the New York coffee cup?
I bought this from my wife. Yeah,
yeah, that's great, dude. I watched that show. You ever watched the show Suits?
You know what? It keeps coming up on my preview on Netflix, and I think I'm late to the game, obviously, but I think I want to watch it. It looks good.
Yeah. I same here. I watched a few episodes of it the other night because it's been coming up on my Netflix. I'm like, man, let me see. It's like in the top 10 every week. I'm like, let me see what this shit's about.
Right.
So I'm like, I watched a couple episodes, and they're in New York, obviously, and they keep going to these little like coffee stands and getting like bagels, and they always have one of those little cups. That's what made me just thinking. I'm like, dude, that's the cup from Suits. So that's a real thing in New York, huh?
Oh yeah, no, that's every cup. And so we used to like when I worked in the city, I would go in, and I was around 21-ish, and I would go in. And you get off the train, you're walking, and there's a bunch of stands. You get your coffee at your favorite stand or your favorite deli. You get a bagel. And that's a New York breakfast. By the way, at least for me, the coffee was so light and so sweet. There was barely any coffee in it. It was more like milk sugar with a splash of coffee. and you would eat like that. And eventually, I went from like 190 to like 218, similar to what I just did recently. And I was like, oh, wow, I didn't understand carbs and sugars. I didn't
understand I was eating 9 tablespoons of sugar in my little cup of coffee every morning.
So I realized, I was like, shit, man, carbs are, kind of tough. And so is sugar. I guess I'm going to have to cut out the bagel. That was like the first thing. The bagel and Chinese food were the first things that I ever cut out of my diet to lose weight.
It's a lot of carbs there.
Bro, I used to eat Chinese every day, every other day. Yo, when you're in New York, like everyone would talk about how great the food was, but the truth is you eat like 5 things. You eat pizza, bagels, Chinese food. I don't know. A couple of guys would.
Is there a lot of Indian food in
Italian food is the staple of everything. And then a couple of guys that were actually from Oregon that lived in New York would always talk about Indian food, right? I'm not getting
this. Isn't an insult to people from India. I don't like Indian food. I
don't
like
love
curry.
It. I go back and forth on it. It's not something I seek out, nor is it. Nor do I eat at places that consider themselves Indian food. Clark just went on this Indian food, craziness, and it's all he wanted to eat. And I'm just not that into it, man. I'm open to all foods.
No, I'm open to all of it. And I'm sure there's some Indian food that I would like. Of the Indian foods I've tried, I was like, I mean, it wasn't bad. It wasn't my flavor profile. I wouldn't want it again. I'm like,
anytime I went to one of those restaurants, I ate more bread than you could eat in one sitting. That flatbread is very good. I enjoyed the rice.
Naan?
Yeah, I enjoyed the chicken.
See,
the red
naan
chicken
is the shit. That's Indian, right?
Yeah, I would eat way too much of that. It was never like a healthy situation for me.
I do like Middle Eastern food though. Like I don't know if it's I don't know. I can't think of what
does it look like?
What it's technically. It's called kibbe.
Shawarma?
No, I think it's called kibbe.
Kibbe?
I think it's called kibbe. It's like it's like lamb, if I remember correctly. It's like ground up. At least the way I had it, it was like scrambled ground up lamb with like seasoning, had like onions and some seasonings that I didn't recognize, but no,
it's flat.
And then it was deep fried. Then it had like a bread on the outside.
This is like it's like a type of shawarma. Interesting. That's interesting.
It was like but this had deep fried bread around the outside.
Yeah, shawarma is the one with the bread around it too, right?
The shawarma with bread?
No. What's the one with like that? All the Israeli spots have it. They're usually like sometimes falafel. It's falafel. It's falafel. It's all falafel.
That's what I'm wondering, if this is like Israeli or if it's like the guy that I know that his wife used to make it. He was Armenian, but that's not really all the same thing. But anyway, I think it was called kibbe, if I remember correctly.
It's Lebanese. He was Armenian from Lebanon. A lot of them ran over to Lebanon during a bad time in their history during the genocide.
Okay. Let me tell you something, dude. That kibbe shit, it was like this ground lamb stuff, and it had pine nuts and
my wife is
seasonings and onion and stuff.
Yeah.
It was delicious.
My wife's Armenian, and I love their food. It's very it's just all like grilled meats, a lot of rice, and then some of the dishes they do like that. But everything's really good, man. I love trying different cuisine. Indian is by far the furthest to a point. Like it really takes you somewhere, and some people just aren't ready for it.
Yeah, I think it's because with Indian food, it's the prevalence of curry in a lot of their. They use, just like you see a lot of cumin and Mexican seasonings and stuff like that. You see a lot of curry in Indian, and I don't love the taste of curry. So that just kind of fucks it all up for me. That's what I always call it.
I saw that. Bro, so I missed. Okay, so I caught the piranha or the tri-tip video, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
Have you tried it? It's delicious.
It's my favorite steak on the planet, and we just came from Central California where that's their steak cut of choice.
That's the jam, bro.
Yeah, and I love it, but where do you get it? I may have missed that in the video. Where do you get it? And like,
it's weird because here Costco sells it. You can get 2 to 3 packs of it in Costco.
What do they call it though? What do they call it?
They call it they call it Sirloin Cap, I think is what they call it.
That's what I wanted to know from you, because I'm like, babe, the cow is shaped the same way on the East Coast as it is on the West Coast. They're
cows are the same everywhere.
Yeah, they're calling it something else. So we have access to this. We just don't know what it's called.
I think they call it Sirloin Cap. But I think lately, when I first started cooking it years ago, they called it Sirloin Cap. But lately, if I'm not mistaken, because Picanha has gotten popular and people know the name, it says Sirloin Cap, and then in parentheses it says Picanha next to it.
Huh.
Now my Costco sells it. My uncle up in Kentucky, his Costco does not. He's gone there a bunch of times because I told him we get it at Costco, and he's like, dude, my Costco doesn't carry that shit.
Yeah.
Now his Costco sells plate ribs, like beef plate ribs. Our Costco doesn't sell those. So I think some Costcos, depending on your region, have slightly different selections of stuff. So I don't know. I mean, we're in the same state. We're not that far apart. So I would hope that your Costco has the same shit ours does, but it might be a different. I mean, you are Orlando, not St. Augustine. So I don't know. But Sirloin Cap. Long answer long.
You go to a lot of restaurants
in
Jacksonville. You ever go up to Jacksonville at all?
Dude, I just went to a restaurant the other day. I don't generally like going to restaurants.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, because this will sound kind of arrogant of me. This is going to make me sound kind of like a pompous dickhead, but
all I'm hearing is you're getting old
and kind of gotten better at cooking, and I've kind of developed my techniques for how I like to grill and all this. Most of the time when I go out to dinner, I'm disappointed because I'm like, I could have made this better at home and spent a lot less money and been out back by the pool, having a good time, having a cigar. And instead, I'm in this fucking stuffy ass restaurant. I just spent $300 and it's not as good as what I make at home.
Right. No, this is clear and cut. You're getting old syndrome.
Yeah. But my friends made us go.
You don't start thinking like that until you're mid-40s.
Yeah, exactly. When you're younger, it's all about going out and the experience. You get older, it's like, it's too expensive. I can make it better at home.
Right.
But my friend, it was her birthday, and her husband, they wanted to do it at this restaurant, and because it was somebody's birthday, I was like, I don't really love going to restaurants, but we'll give this place a try.
You bit the bullet.
Bit the bullet. And it was called oh fuck, what's the name of this place?
It was in Jacksonville?
St. Augustine.
Oh. St. Augustine have good food? Does St. Augustine have any good food?
Oh, dude, this place was probably the best restaurant I've been to in my life.
Wow. You know where I ate when we were in St. Augustine? We went to the tourist spot, Columbia.
Oh, yeah, you can't. Hold on, let me see.
It was terrible. Sorry, Columbia. You gotta go for the experience, but
Asada. That's it. Sorry, I had to get the name for it. Asada Life.
These are great. Hey, I got to send you some of these Jopitos. These are really good, man.
Yes, please do.
African Cameroon. What'd you say? What was it called?
Asada Life.
Asada Life.
Asada. So
Asada.
You can't just go there. You got to make a reservation. It's reservation only, and you pick what you're eating before you go.
Ooh, I like it already. I like that.
And it's all out. It's most of it's outdoors. It's on the water. It's on the intercoastal. It's very nice outside. There's a lot of big covered patios. There's a big patio area with tables you can sit. Do you know what a Santa Maria grill is?
What?
Do you know what a Santa Maria grill is?
No.
They're big in California. They're big. It's like a big open pit grill that they build a fire in, and then there's these huge grates, and they have these cranks, and they can raise and lower these grates off of the fire.
Oh yeah. Okay, I've seen them.
A lot of times, picanha is cooked on a Santa Maria. That's a big thing, Brazilian cooking. Except Brazilian cooking, they don't call them Santa Marias. They call them it's a different name, I think. But anyway.
Man, you are one culture.
There's a bunch of these out on the back porch, and there's all these chefs out here cooking this meat all day on these big Santa Maria cookers. And depending on, you can do like tomahawk ribeyes, you can do all these different menu courses, and it's like a 4-course meal or 5-course meal. And these guys are out here cooking, and you can go up to them and talk to them, and they'll talk to you about the meat and the food and how they're preparing it and where they got the meat from.
This is a part of the restaurant experience.
Yeah. Yeah.
Wow. Okay.
They'll suggest wines that go well with the food and all the thing, and they're out there cooking. You could just, because you can't get there till 6, but dinner isn't served until like 7 or 7:30 or something. So that whole time between 6 and 7, you just kind of have drinks. They have a really nice bar. They have a really delicious old fashioned. You could talk to the chefs and get advice on what's going on. And then
this sounds like a great time, man.
Dude, it was and the food fucking slapped, bro. It was so good. Because normally when I go to barbecue, if I see somebody cooking, I'm like, get the fuck out of here, dude. This shit's not going to be good. But these dudes, it was legit, dude. All the meat was delicious.
Wow.
Best fucking cheesecake I've ever had in my life. That was another thing.
I don't know about that.
If you guys ever come up here to visit, we should go there. Go out to dinner over there. I think you would enjoy it because you like that kind of like pairings and stuff.
Bougie shit. I like the bougie shit.
Yeah. And it's a cool restaurant because it's right on the intercoastal. It's, it's outdoors and it's intercoastal, so you don't have to dress up to go. It's like casual dress, but it's a nice place. It's cool. One of the better restaurant experiences I've had in the last 20 years.
That's awesome.
So sorry, I totally derailed the whole thing.
No. This is great. This is what this podcast is about. It's us catching up.
I was super happy with that place, though.
That sounds great, man. Orlando's got a big problem with food. We have a lot of nice looking places, but the food's rarely good. When we do get a good food spot, it quickly gets like a Michelin star or something like that, and it becomes unobtainable and unaffordable or just not something you want to. it's crazy. And so all the people around here are like, food used to suck, but now because we have like 3 Michelin stars in the last year. And it's like, shit. Now we have great food. And it's like, no. Stop right there. Let me tell you guys something. Okay. You can't say a city has great food because it has 3 Michelin star rated restaurants. When you say Houston has good food, which it does, when you say New York has good food, there's a base layer of from spending $10 to $1,000 on dinner. There are great options. That's when a city or a place has great food. When Charleston has great food, the chicken fingers you get are excellent. And then the place like you're talking about where you needed the reservation and everything is excellent too. That's great food. Here, we don't really have that. We do. You have to really search it out. I get all my news from Andrew Huberman.
From where?
Huberman.
Andrew
you know
Huberman?
This guy? Yeah.
Yeah, but he's not political. He doesn't
talk.
But
he's great. I love that dude.
He's a smart dude, though. Man.
Yeah,
he's a smart dude. And here's
dude.
the thing: in an age of a lot of bro science going on the internet, with
he's the real
people
deal,
saying they're physical fitness experts, and they have no fucking anything to back that other than you got guys like the Liver King and shit. Andrew Huberman
he's all natty, bro. Did you see they did his test results?
He's a Harvard. Is it Harvard or Yale or where?
No. The Liver King. They did his Stanford. He did, but
Stanford.
But the Liver King though, he did all his tests and it came back that he's primal. Did you see that? None of my jokes are really landing today. Hey, did you ever see that thing that you're primal? But that guy is the most juiced up thing I've ever seen in my entire life. Holy shit.
Oh, dude. And then he's walking around talking about, I'm totally natural. It's just because I eat fucking bull testicles and liver all day. It's like, bitch, let me tell you something. I've lifted a lot in my life, and I've been huge and I've been small and I've been all the things in between. And all the times I was even remotely close to, and I never was as big as he was, but any of the times I was even remotely close to that size, I was on the gear, bro. Like, you're not getting that size without being on gear, man.
Yeah.
You're just not. Period. I don't give a fuck what anybody says. And the key things you look at, and he exhibits all of them, is if you have more androgen receptors in your traps and your delts proportionately than other parts of your body, right?
Okay.
You have more androgen receptors in your delts and your traps than you do in other areas. You have them in lots of areas, but they're proportionally more dense in those areas. So anybody who's on gear, their traps and their delts kind of tend to be a little bit more swole than your average dude. Your blood pressure usually goes up a little bit, so your skin usually gets a little bit of a pinkish red tone to it.
Yeah, what is that? That's from blood pressure?
Yeah, it's from like a little bit of a blood pressure raise and stuff like that. So you look at him, he's got huge delts, he's got huge traps, and he's like fucking beat red all the time. I'm like,
bro,
dude,
do you know anything about
he's that size? Get the fuck out of here.
Do you know anything about HGH?
Yeah, dude, that makes you look real weird. I want to stay away from that stuff as far as possible. I never got
look real weird.
That.
How about your skin though when you're on HGH? Because I noticed
skin, usually it can make your skin like a little rougher, and like the texture of it can get a little rougher and thicker, and your bone structure can actually change to a certain degree, like your skull shape.
What's
and your
the
jaw
Indian actor? What's the Indian actor that's all jacked now? He was a comedy guy.
Yeah, I know you're talking about. He was in. Yeah, I can't think of his name. He was in that.
Bro, have you seen him lately?
I mean, I saw it when he got swole.
Kumail Nanjiani.
Yeah, that's his name.
Bro, this dude. So that was him, sort of natural. Maybe he was doing something. He 2 years ago, he got in really good shape for a role, and it was like, oh, okay. But recently, some pictures of him came out that, bro, his cheekbones got so big. And his fucking arms are so vascular. It's like, holy HGH, what are you doing, bro? He looks great. Don't get me wrong. I was jealous as soon as I saw it. I was like, man, I wish I could.
You can always tell people that are on that because they unlike steroids and stuff that, you see the traps and the delts and all that. Usually people that have been fucking with the HGH for a while, their facial structure actually changes.
Yeah.
And I'm out on that shit. I am out. Who else did that? I was watching a story on him the other day, and they were talking about he got into. People were saying that Conor McGregor. They're pretty sure Conor McGregor is on HGH.
Well, okay,
it was a guy analyzing some pictures of him.
Even for non-athletes now, if you break a large bone, they're putting you on HGH for 2 months, 3 months to help heal the body fast.
To help with the heal, right?
Yeah.
But the problem is, a lot of these guys they stay on it. You know what I'm saying? They don't just take it for the couple months recommended by a doctor that probably wouldn't change anything. They then stay on it for the next 8 months to keep getting bigger and bigger and more swole. And then they end up looking like Captain fucking Caveman.
I want to pump it into my ass. I got no ass, man. It's fucking a nightmare.
I don't think it's regional that way.
Right.
Like, I don't think pumping it would actually increase your ass. You could go get those fucking injections those guys do. That like, you see those guys that have those crazy like flubby swollen arms where they get all those injections.
It's good.
So it doesn't look.
I made it this far. I'm married. Like, I guess I don't need an ass, but it's
an Alabama longback, dude. That's what I got.
What is that?
Alabama longback. It's where your back just continues down into your legs. There's no ass there. It just. It's because we're getting older, man. It's like there's something about old guys and losing all their ass. You know what we need to do is more squats, dude. Squats will take care of that. Squats and deadlifts will take care of that ass problem.
It hurts though, man. I end up injuring myself with this shit.
Just don't go crazy. Don't go crazy heavy on the weight.
I'm doing split leg now instead.
That'll help, but that's more for your quads and stuff generally. But it'll help your booty. Squats, dude. Squats are the booty builders, man.
It's a sad
squats
state
and
of
deadlifts.
affairs. There was something.
You ever see a girl with one of those straight like shelf butts?
Yes.
I guarantee you that girl does squats and deadlifts.
And injections. There are a lot of fake asses out here nowadays.
No, dude, that's like, I'm not talking about Kim Kardashian. You can tell because they have these huge asses and then they have these little ass pencil legs, and it doesn't look right. It's like that big ass doesn't belong on those. It doesn't. If you've got a naturally ass that's that big naturally, you got some thighs on you too.
Yeah.
If you got this huge bubble ass and then it goes down to fucking big bird legs that are like this big around, it's like, bitch, that's a fucking silicone implants in your ass. That ain't real.
Yes, that is correct.
I saw a picture of her one time online and I was like, ugh. Everybody talks about how great her butt is. No, dude. It looks okay if you only photograph her butt, but as soon as you go down and include some thigh, then you see those skinny ass thighs hanging out of that big fake fat booty, and it doesn't look right.
So yeah, no, I know what you mean. There was like, I remember a few years ago, there was like this viral young rapper, a girl. She was like 10 and was doing like really cringe shit for views, but it was working. And
10? She was 10 years old?
Yeah, she was probably 8 or 10 or something like that.
Oh.
And her name was Little Tay. And I woke up this morning
dude, you can't be doing that shit at that age. When
I opened up my browser, I do get a little bit of news feed on my Brave browser, which is a really cool browser I've been using. It's very safe. Anyway, she died at 14. Jesus fucking Christ, 14 years old. How'd she die? I mean, I'm imagining drugs were involved. 14 years old, you know.
See, man, and I don't know this. Look, and I'm not talking about this particular case. Okay, so I'm not talking about this poor child that is passed away at such an early age. That's just tragic, no matter what. But
yeah,
that's why you just don't let kids get involved in shit too early, right? Like, kids don't, and it goes back to the transgender argument that everybody's having.
Oh,
it's
no,
like,
Jeremy. No, stop.
No. Well, look.
No.
I'm not saying, all I'm saying is it goes back to.
No more transgender talk.
No. I'm not going to get deep into it. I'm just saying, kids are kids, man. You have to, they don't know what the fuck they're doing. You know what I'm saying? Like, kids can't make decisions. That's why we don't let them vote until they're 18.
I thought it was 18. You know? At 18, you're allowed to start going out and making your own decisions. Until then, if you have good parents, you're not.
We need to protect those kids, and we need to make decisions for them and make sure they're.
Let me put it to you this way. I didn't start getting tattoos until I was 28. I have multiple tattoos that I fucking regret. Now, if I regret that shit in my early 30s, stuff that I did, imagine. I don't even like to think back to some of the things I did between 14 and 25 28, 30, 31. No.
But that's my point. You should be letting kids get involved in adult activities. You shouldn't be letting them have social media careers at that age. You shouldn't be letting them get tattoos. You shouldn't be letting them get plastic surgery or facelifts. I've seen these things where, these parents are letting their young kids that are competing in pageants and stuff get plastic surgery at like 8 and 10 years old.
Wow.
You shouldn't be doing that. You shouldn't be letting kids change their gender before a certain age. You shouldn't be letting kids do any life-altering shit until they're old enough to figure it out. Period. Has nothing to do with my political beliefs about transgender or any of that stuff. Just period. Protect the kids until they're adults and they can make their own decisions. Kids are kids. Fucking A, man.
What cigar did you review last night? You said it was the Hawk?
Yeah, the Hawk, the Blackbird.
Yeah. They're great. I like Blackbird, man. Great company.
I like Blackbird. I was disappointed with that cigar.
Really?
Only because the one I smoked last night, I had previously smoked that cigar and really enjoyed it, which is why I put it on the live stream. Because I don't just randomly smoke cigars on the live stream. There's cigars that I've smoked before and I enjoy, and I want to share them and let people know that, you know what I mean? So I enjoyed that cigar. But the one last night, for whatever reason, and it was just you never know. It's a handmade product. You're going to get bunk ones every now and then.
So let me tell you.
A bad one. Yeah. It had a weird spot in the middle, and a bunch of it was like the draw was way too loose.
Yeah,
so
yeah. You got a bad cigar.
It wouldn't stay lit. And then I was having to puff on it too fast and too hard to keep it lit, so the flavors were going bitter and stuff. And once I got past there was a part where I could see where it was tunneling a little bit, where the center didn't have enough leaves, where I think it was underpacked. Yeah. Once I got past that point, the last third was fine, but up until that, it was frustrating.
I told you I was away all summer, right, in California.
Oh yeah. That's why we didn't do one of these last month. Yeah. You were in California.
I was in Vegas, California. I was in a place called Ojai, which is a farming community that's a hippie kind of town and really amazing.
Welcome back to Florida with 115-degree humid temperatures.
So Ojai was really hot, but the cool thing is we would drive over to Ventura, which is about 15 minutes away, and the temperature would go from 95 to 75.
And how's that? Just because of mountains or something?
Just because of the ocean. We would go, as soon as we would get near the beach, the temperature, bro, halfway there, the temperature would be in the 80s. It was really amazing. California is, forget about politics. California is one of the most beautiful places I've ever been. Now, I had lived in California, but I lived in Los Angeles, and I mistook that for being California, and it is not. It is its own thing.
To comment on that, I heard a guy the other day talking about it. I think it was Jochy Blanco or Jochy Blanco or somebody. He was talking about it because I think he lives in California. And he was saying most people think of California as this super liberal, super crowded, super materialistic, super fake and plastic and stuff. And that's because when people think of California, they think of LA and Hollywood, right? Those are the places they think of. He's like, but most of California isn't like that. He's like, the problem is the majority of the people are there. So votes for political stuff, always tend to go that way because of the amount of people. He's like, but the rest of the state is not like that. The rest of the state does not look like that. He said, California is beautiful.
So it's possibly one of the most beautiful places I've ever been. And not possibly, it's definitely top 2, but it might be top 1 based on the driving that I did over the last month. It is the real California is Ronald Reagan's version of America. It is country western in a sense. It's not country, it's western. Let's go there.
Right.
I'm sure there's a ton of people that listen to country music there, but it wasn't country, it was western. The people that I saw there wearing cowboy hats and or boots were actually people that wear them like sort of with their job or their family business or whatever.
Well, that's what he was saying. He was saying there's a lot of ranches, there's a lot of farmers.
Oh my God.
A lot of like
endless.
He's like California.
Endless.
A lot of
and you got to realize
people.
this state is basically Florida through almost Pennsylvania. So it's the whole coast, right? And,
right.
And so San Francisco and Los Angeles and San Diego are only 3 little points, and the rest of it it's western. It's desert in a lot of places. San Francisco's
the other one I forgot about. That's another shithole.
It's desert. It's mountainous. It's, I mean, I could show you some videos that I took on my iPhone that look like they're out of a movie. You just have to pull over. It's so beautiful. You have to pull over and go, holy shit, would you look at that? Would you just look at it? Just look at it.
And that's what I'm saying, but it sucks because I've heard that from multiple people now that California is this great, beautiful place. But because of places like LA and San Francisco, they've ruined the fucking state for most people. Because
so
when
the
I
only
see the
difference
pictures of the homeless situation there,
that
like the people shitting in the streets and that's why I said San Francisco, because I've heard there's like a horrible homeless situation.
San Fran's back. But I didn't.
That's what I'm saying. That's why I said it's a shithole.
But once you leave there,
I used to see of San Francisco, it looked beautiful.
Yeah.
But now I see these new stuff, and the most recent, and there's like shit everywhere and everything.
Well, you can't deny
what
that.
What the fuck have they let happen?
Yeah, you can't deny that. One thing I will say though is even in LA, I noticed it was a lot better the last 2 trips when I've been there.
Really?
I'm not sure why. They told me that when they brought the Super Bowl to LA that they passed a new law and they were able to clean a lot of it up. But I mean, it's still bad.
I hope so, man, because it's a major
city.
Shame.
But once you leave, I mean, you see the same shit you see all over the country. You see a mix of political signs. You see a lot of Trump support. I saw a lot of Trump flags out there.
Well, that's what he was saying. He's like, as soon as you leave those cities, he goes, you see a lot of MAGA stuff. Mm-hmm. He's like, you see a lot of Trump stuff. And I'm like, in California, you would think you wouldn't even see anything of that nature out there.
Nah, man, it's not like that. And then another thing is, the Mexican influence on the food.
Delicious, bro.
I didn't really understand it. I was never like, I enjoy a good Mexican food meal, but I never understood real Mexican food in a sense. And I got a flavor for a tortilla and burritos and it was the first time because I was always like, I was a pizza guy, East Coast, Italian sandwiches, stuff like that.
No, dude, good. But Texas is the same way. Tex-Mex, dude. The influence on their cuisine with Mexican.
It's very good. Very good. And by the way, healthier. A lot more real ingredients in this stuff.
Well, it's like fresh food.
Yes.
It's fresh, real food.
I loved it. Now we stayed.
I can't pronounce.
We stayed we stayed right near a town called Ventura, and I got to give Ventura some props. They want to keep it hidden, so I guess I shouldn't be mentioning it. But it's a really nice looking place. At least
was that the place you sent me pictures when you were there? Was that the one you sent me some pictures and you were walking down it looked like a little main street area you were walking around? Was that where you were at in Ventura?
That was probably Ojai. So let me tell you about Ojai. Ojai is interesting. Ojai is a farming community where a lot of hippies and surfers live. The houses there are expensive.
So there's water there, obviously, because this is a coastal community because you said surfers.
No. This is the one. It's 15 minutes inland, so they just drive out to the water.
It's still close enough to have surfers. Though. I mean, they have quick access to water.
Exactly. Every home was, I'm going to say it was a little dirty for me. I'm super like sterile.
Right says, it's a little dirty.
It's a place of barefoot, dirty feet, and like that kind of thing. Like
Hippies.
it is hippie. It is dusty as hell from all the farming and all the desert coming in through the mountains and everything. And every house has either an old VW Euro van or a minivan or a old car of some that is the sole purpose of this vehicle is for camping and surfing. Okay? That's every house.
I mean,
what the vibe I got was that some of these people have generational wealth and have figured out that money ruins everything or can ruin things. And they've gone past that new money bullshit that everyone else is on. And they're like, nah, man, I'm just going to live a simple, nice life here. I get to surf.
Dude, there's something to be said about that, bro.
Holy shit. Old money, bro. Old money knows where it's at. That's experience talking. And these people
There's something to be said. It was, by the way, I was looking this up while you were talking. It was the place you sent me was We're staying 25 minutes from the coast, and at 100 degrees today. We drove 25 minutes to the water in Ventura, and it's 75 degrees. Just insane. So it was Ventura. You sent me a little video.
You would love Ventura. Oh my God. It's
yeah, I think that's what you said in that text chain when you.
I think I just thought of you when I got there. I was like, man, Jeremy would really like it. I wish he could see this because I had a feeling that was your thoughts on California. Everyone's thoughts on California are political, but look, here's the bottom line.
Not just political. I mean, take the. I mean, the political is a big thing. I would never move to California because of the politics and because of the gun control and stuff, and I can't tolerate that. So there is that, but not just the political, but just the imagery, right? Like. When you see movies that are shot in California, it's always in LA, and it's the traffic and the crowds and all the chicks with the big fake asses and the lips and all the fucking plastic surgery and it's like that's not, take the political out of it. Those just aren't my type of people. You know what I'm saying? but from what I understand, that's only LA, Hollywood, San Diego, San Francisco. You get outside and like you're saying, all these other little areas, and it's my kind of shit. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's pretty badass. But unfortunately, it's like you still can't go there and own a damn firearm.
So
you can't carry a knife longer than 2 inches without getting arrested because you've got.
I don't know how true that is, man. There was a lot of guys with knives. There was a lot. I could tell people. I don't know what I don't think you can carry. I think that's a big difference. I don't think you're allowed to carry. But they did away with the 10.
You're allowed to carry, but it's like the restrictions that are put on it are crazy.
The 10-round thing went away. That's done with. That law expired.
Well, that's because there's the ATF and the government has been getting their ass handed to them quite frequently lately by some decisions that have been happening and stripping a lot of power from the government and some of these regulations that they've been instituting over the last decade.
There's no doubt, though. There's no doubt. There's no doubt. I got that New York vibe. That was why I left New York. Let me tell you what happens in these big cities. Two things. One, everyone has a job, and then they also have a side hustle, and the side hustle is typically illegal. Okay, whether it be illegal by what you're selling.
He's like the side hustle typically it's in the gray area at least.
Yeah, it's or you're not paying taxes on whatever. It's illegal though. And so it forces people to do these side hustles. It also forces people to hustle. Period. So you get a lot of that, kind of, hey, you need this, or I don't love that shit. And then the
people bugging you on the street trying to sell you a Rolex for $20.
I mean,
this is genuine Rolex. I got it. It's $20. It's like, get the fuck out of here, dude. You're not selling a Rolex for $20.
The other thing was the overextension of government. You can't talk about barrier to entry.
New York's one of the worst.
New York was so difficult.
Mayor, governor. I don't know. I've seen one of the people that's in power over there. I mean, really fighting against even the court's ruling that she was wrong, and she's still figuring out little loopholes around the rulings, trying to still restrict things the way she wants them, even though the government is telling her, like, hey, you need to back off. This shit's unconstitutional. Like, you got to stop. And then she just backdoors it in some bullshit way to still get done what she wants to get done. And it's like, fucking A, man, just stop it. Fucking stop it.
What were the best cigars that you've had over the last few Wednesday nights on your lives? Anything standing out?
Espinosa 601 Maduro that one claps, bro. That one claps cheeks, as I say. And then people are like, claps cheeks means fucking. I'm like, right, because some cigars are here to fuck, bro. They're like, they're here.
Espinosa's the shit.
Espinosa 601 Maduro was probably the one that surprised me the most because I didn't know about it. That was one of the ones you had sent me to try. And I always get surprised when I find a cigar that I like that much. So that one might have been the biggest surprise, just because a lot of the other cigars I've had before, so it didn't surprise me.
Yeah. One thing I wanted to tell you, the reason why I brought up California was because I had a bag of cigars with me from the PCA, and they were the cigar that we were kind of giving out. It was called an NFT. And when you turned it around, it said it's non-fungible tobacco, which I thought was cute. And so I put that band on there because everyone's talking about these NFTs. And I'm like, you guys are the most untechnological fucking people on earth. What are you doing with NFTs? Like, give me a break. So So anyhow, so we did that, and everywhere I smoked the cigar, it was totally different. It was so almost disappointing to me as someone who's writing this experiential smoking thing every month and putting it out in these boxes, pouring my heart and soul into it, flavor notes, pairing notes, all this stuff. And then you get it, and you might have a total different experience with it because you're in Montana or you're in San Antonio, or the whole geography, weather, everything changed every single time we smoked a cigar. It was like a different cigar. It was crazy.
You know what? That reminded me when you were talking about that of a cigar, and I didn't put it on a live stream because I only had one of them. And now that I've smoked it, I kind of wish that I would. I actually shared it with my son, which, well, we'll go into that. Not my.
Ooh.
I have a son that just turned 18, and I know technically it's not 18 for smoking anymore.
Gives a shit.
But you know,
did he like the cigar?
Proud that he was proud that he was 18, and he was like, "Dad, come on, I've been wanting to smoke a cigar with you for all these years."
Did he like it?
I like. He did. But I didn't let him smoke the whole thing because I didn't want him getting sick and stuff. But I did want him to have a little experience for his 18th birthday. Hope I don't get in trouble with anybody for saying that. You know, I let him have a couple puffs. But I smoked the rest of it, and I was like, "Fuck! I should have gave him a different cigar. This thing's great."
What was it?
It was one that was coming in one of my Privada. It was the. And it's a super limited thing, and now I'm looking at it. I'm like, why did I smoke this? Because now it's gone. And like,
I'm sure I have something in my private stash somewhere. I'll get you whatever you want.
It was the one from Jochy Blanco.
The Uncle Paulie?
No, it had Tony the Tiger on it.
Oh yeah, no, I got a couple left of those. We sold most of them, but we put them in that Redux box because they were like 3 years.
Dude, that was a great cigar.
It is a great cigar.
That was a great cigar. I was really surprised by that.
Knocked it out of the park.
I was surprised by that cigar.
So two things. You dig Jochy's shit. You don't love Dominican stuff, but Jochy's the one that did that one with AJ that you liked too.
Yeah. I like his stuff. And I'm not I don't dislike Dominican. If I'm not mistaken, that Hawk that we smoked last night has some Dominican filler in it, if I remember correctly. But it's not the flavor profile that I normally lean into. You know, my flavor profile. I'm a Mexican San Andreas, Connecticut broadleaf, jalapa, know, that kind of shit. Nicaraguan.
Maduro Nicaraguan, for sure.
Yeah.
Which is what that Espinosa is through and through. It is a banger.
Oh, dude. And it was that, because I mean, what did I say? 601. You're like, yeah, that makes sense, you motherfucker. You're an easy guy to pick.
Yeah.
But I a lot of Davidoffs are Dominican, if I'm not mistaken. And I like a lot of Davidoffs depending on my mood. But yeah, Jochy stuff in particular, I don't know what he does different. But normally if I see his name on a cigar or affiliated with a blend, I'm like, you know what, I'm going to try that. Because generally speaking, I like his stuff.
I'll tell you what he does different. He actually professionally
gives a shit.
No, not just gives a shit, but he actually professionally cures and ferments his tobacco. And oftentimes in Dominican Republic, the tobacco isn't being cured the way it should be, the way it could be. They use huts a lot of these places still, and the huts don't control the heat as well as, you go to Nicaragua, the curing barns are state of the art. It's a real structure. So
right. Which is what I think is funny. Everybody, you get these Cuban snobs that are like, if it's not Cuban, it's garbage. And it's like, yeah, okay, bitch, whatever you say. But here's the deal. Most of the people that started up that whole Cuban thing now live in Nicaragua, and they're making those cigars, and they took their seeds with them.
Yep.
And it's different soil, so I know it's not the same thing, sure, but the same palates and the same expertise that made those Cubans that you love so much when all the fucking embargoes went on, they moved their families to Nicaragua. Yep. So, I mean, stop it with the Cuban snobbery bullshit.
So the first trip to California, I actually went twice this summer. First trip was to Cigar and Spirit's 12th annual cigar and spirit tasting. It was an event that we did. It was a lot of fun. We shot a video on it. I think we're going to release it next week. And so the southern or the Orange County, California is big money, very right. Okay. It's kind of like Florida in California, within suburb city kind of situation. And in Southern California, period, from LA down, Cuban cigars run the fucking thing. Like, you're no one unless you're smoking a Cuban cigar. And it's hard to break people out of that. But the truth is, man, it's very rare that Cuban cigars are that good. When they're great, they're great. Listen, we've smoked Cuban tobacco, and we know that it is an excellent, excellent tobacco. When you can get good Cuban tobacco, it can make a cigar. Your entire filler can just be Cuban tobacco from one plant, and it can be excellent. But it's very rare because of the conditions and because China's buying everything. They're just getting it out as quickly as possible. You're also in a communist country where there's no incentive to do a good job of rolling, and construction's typically off, and so it's a shame.
Well,
but Europe is turning around
that
though, man.
From multiple people, and me and you have had longer conversations about this, and you've told me your stories, and I've talked to a lot of other people that aren't snobs, they're just being real, and everybody seems to say the same thing. Cubans are great. There's nothing wrong with Cubans. But Nicaragua and Dominican Republic and a lot of other Honduras are all doing it just as good, if not better, than it ever was done in Cuba. So why do you think Cuban cigars have this?
It's very simple. You can't get them.
Level. Is it?
You can't get them here.
That's so dumb, though. Like, yeah. I mean, there's a lot of shit you can't
imagine
get.
if they said Kentucky can no longer distribute bourbon outside of Kentucky. That's it. Done. People would be driving across country to pick this stuff up.
But they make some of the best bourbon around, though, man. You know what I mean?
At one point, they did. Well, look, it's really.
At one point, they made pretty much all the bourbon.
No, I'm saying with Cuba, really, the height of Cuban cigars was in Ybor City. They would ship it up there, and then they would roll it there. But the truth is, there was a point where Cuba was a good. Cuba made, I think, more consistent products. I just think that after the embargo, shit got so hot for them that everyone wanted it. Europe, they still served Europe. Remember, everyone else gets it except us. Now that's what I was going to say. I was about when you said that. I was like, over in Europe, that's just as common, or if not more common. You can don't make no mistake about it though. You can get cigars here on shelves that may or may not have Cuban tobacco in them. I'm just saying that.
Oh, I'm sure there's some shit that goes on.
They're not what you expect,
though. As different stuff.
They're not what you expect. I'll just leave it at that and be done.
It's a white owl at your local fucking.
Not quite a white owl.
But like some Quorum bundles or something.
Some shit that you would never smoke voluntarily.
Yeah. That doesn't surprise me, dude. Speaking of, since I said Quorum, can we use this opportunity to once again pump the Privada bundles, because I've raved about the cafeteria cigars.
Oh, great.
And now a bunch of people have bought them, and everybody that I've sent to buy the cafeteria cigars has reported back unanimously one of the best bundle cigars ever created.
Oh, it's awesome.
That cafeteria cigar fucking slaps, bro. I don't even want to say it too much more because I don't want them to start running out.
Yeah.
They're so good. For a bundle for that price, they're crazy.
I'm very lucky. Crazy. I'm very lucky.
I don't know what. Oh, I know what I'm going to ask you. People wanted to know if on the website you could put some details about the types of tobaccos that are in the bundles. You know how on all the other cigars you have like, wrapper, filler, binder.
I need to do that.
A bunch of people were saying, man, I wish people have been saying this to me on the live stream and in comments and videos and stuff where I've talked about them. They're like, can you get Brian to put the wrapper, filler, binder type, leaves that are on the bundle so we can.
I will do that. I will do that. It's going to take me a couple of weeks, but by the next time we do this, I'll have that done.
Yeah, I mean, it's no rush. People had
put that on our list, William.
I always forget to say it. But what do you know off the top of your head? What's the wrapper on that cafeteria cigar?
It depends on which one you bought. Can I see it?
I don't have any more.
Okay,
I'm going to order some more. That's a good sign. All the bitches. They're good. Sign.
Hey, Darby's not here, right? Darby's not here anymore. Darby's not here anymore.
Oh, really?
Yeah. Eddie.
When that happened?
Eddie. Darby's a really talented.
I talked to Darby like a week or two ago.
Yeah, Darby's a really talented young guy. I think that he I personally think he should start his own business. I hope he does. I think that I don't think it was a.
I know you can't go into too deep a detail because it's personal. And whatever,
yeah, I guess. Yeah, I should be very careful about that because I don't want to. But I think that he's ready to move on to bigger and better opportunities. I think some of his talent was kind of going to waste here. Yeah, you know, and I think based on the conversation we had, I think he kind of feels the same way, and it was just time. So I made sure he was taken care of, and life is good, and you know, and we'll see what his next chapter is. He was a great guy.
He was always good to me. I mean, anytime
I miss him. We had to let go of a couple of people over the last year, and I miss him. I don't miss everyone else. Well, I shouldn't say that. I do miss them, but he's missed for sure.
He was always very quick, very prompt. Anytime I would send an email about anything, he would always get back to me right away. Yeah, he was a good guy, and he seems good though. I mean, if I'm not mistaken, he's been always good and prompt and quick with everything too. Yeah. You know, no issues there. And there is we'll talk once. I don't know how long we're going to keep this and when we're going to cap the recording, but before we get off, there is something I want to mention.
Yeah, I think now's a great time.
I guess I can mention it online. It doesn't matter. What? We need to I don't want to put you in a spot.
What?
Well, it's not putting you in a spot. Well, no, because I think you've already said that was fine. I want to go ahead and get that beginner bundle put together.
Yeah. Okay.
Because the other company that I did the beginner bundle with, I can't. I don't want to have to stay on top of somebody to keep something in stock. And like I feel like we've had to reach out to them. I'm not going to say names or anything. I don't have any ill feelings toward them. It was good what we did, but like it's been out of stock for months, and we've reached out a couple times to try to get things restocked. And it's from what I can tell, it's not going anywhere. And I got people that are like, man, what's up with the beginner bundle?
Can you email me the list of what you want in it?
Yeah.
Great.
Easy peasy. I think you've got most of it.
Let's do it. So let's wrap it up.
I know you have.
I got to go to Philadelphia tomorrow to film, and we got Lou Liga Pravada Fest / 2-year anniversary on Saturday in Fishtown, Philadelphia. I'm looking forward to that. I'm filming, doing a cool blog on Philly, and looking forward to sharing that with you. And send me that email. Let's get to work.